So today, we're diving into a really radical idea, one that's about completely restructuring the internet's DNA. And look, this isn't about some new app or faster connection. No, this is about who holds the power online. And it all kicks off with the idea that right now, maybe, just maybe, we're all digital serfs.
I mean, just listen to this quote that the source material we're digging into today opens with. It's a pretty intense way to start, right? It's painting a picture of our digital lives where we're the ones doing all the work, creating the content, having the conversations, while a handful of platform lords get to sit back and collect all the profits. So let's break that down. What does digital feudalism actually mean? Well, think of it this way. That digital land you're on, your profile, your follower list, all the content you've ever posted, it doesn't actually belong to you. It belongs to the platform. They own the real estate. They make the rules, and in a sense, they collect the rent.
Okay, but how in the world did we get here? How did we become tenants on the internet instead of homeowners? To really get what this whole new idea is about, we've got to take a quick trip back in time and look at how the web has evolved. The source breaks it down into 4 distinct ages.
So, the timeline goes something like this. You had Web 1, which is basically a giant read-only library. Static. Kind of boring. Then came Web 2, which was amazing because it let all of us write and create. But you see the catch right there in the name, feudalism. Web 3 tried to fix that with crypto, but let's be honest, it got a little sidetracked with speculation. And that brings us right up to today and the whole argument for a Web 4, an era that's all about building the actual infrastructure to finally let us own and govern our digital lives.
Now, what's so fascinating here is how Web 2 solved one problem, but created a totally different and maybe even bigger one. It took the passive read-only internet of Web 1 and blew it wide open. Suddenly, we could all be creators. But in fixing that, it created what the source calls the sovereignty crisis. We made a trade. We gave up our data and our control for convenience, and somewhere along the way, we became the product being sold.
This chart just lays it all out perfectly. Just look at that first row, user role. We went from just a reader to a creator, who's really just a tenant, to an owner of assets, and now to the goal of being a sovereign architect. Or check out monetization. It goes from absolutely nothing to sharing ad revenue to tokens, and then to a model that's promising a 0% take rate. You can literally see the evolution from being the product to becoming the owner.
So, if this is a story, who's the bad guy? Well, according to this argument, it's not a single company. It's not a person. It's a role. The middleman. You know, the app store that takes the 30% cut. The social media algorithm that decides who gets to see your post. These intermediaries are framed as the ones who extract all the value from the system without creating much themselves.
And this is where we get to the core mission. The idea of Web 4 presented here isn't just some incremental update. It's framed as a full-blown revolution. It's an eviction notice for those platform lords, a way to take back our digital sovereignty.
So how are they planning to pull this off? It boils down to these 3 pillars. Number 1, get rid of the algorithmic gatekeepers. Number 2, and this is a big one, a promise of zero loss delivery. That means if somebody follows you, they see 100% of your content, period. And number 3, making sure you can pack up your entire digital life, your data, your followers, everything, and move it wherever you want. No more being held hostage.
All right, so that's the mission. But what's the tech actually look like? What's under the hood that makes all this possible? Let's get into the 3 core building blocks of this new architecture. It all starts with something they call UID, Universal User Identity. So forget login with Google or login with Facebook. In that world, they hold the keys to your account. In this world, you hold your own private keys. The idea is that it's like a universal digital passport that you and only you control.
Yeah, and this really drives the point home. With a UID, your identity isn't stuck inside some platform's walled garden. It's tied directly to you. And that is the absolute key to true data portability. If you decide to leave one service for another in this kind of ecosystem, your friends, your reputation, your whole social graph, it's all supposed to come right along with you.
The next piece of the puzzle is SNAS, which stands for Social Network as a Service. This is the tool that's designed to give the power to build directly to the creators. So instead of trying to build a little community inside of Facebook's giant kingdom, the idea is that you can just launch your very own fully independent social network. And this might be the most disruptive number in this entire explainer, 0%. The economic model that's being proposed by Linkspreed, the company behind this, is that they take no cut of the money a creator makes. Nothing. No 30% App Store fee, no 50% platform cut. The promise is that you keep everything you earn. See, this is about flipping the entire power dynamic on its head. With SaaS, you are the platform. There's no mysterious algorithm deciding who sees your stuff. You have a direct financial relationship with your own audience. Your community becomes its own sovereign nation, not just a little neighborhood you're renting.
The last pillar tackles a huge and honestly a growing problem, the crisis of truth online. With all the AI-generated content flooding the internet, how do we know it's real anymore? The solution here is called source. You can think of it like a digital birth certificate that gets stamped onto content at the hardware level, like in the camera chip itself, the very instant it's created. This gives you a mathematical, verifiable proof of exactly where and when that photo or video came from.
So, we've covered the how, the technology, but let's zoom out and talk about the why. What does a world actually built on this stuff look like? This is where we go from the technical stuff to the much bigger philosophical vision.
This quote just makes the whole thing so real, doesn't it? In the world we live in now, getting deplatformed can be a career death sentence. It's digital exile. But in the Web4 model they're describing, that journalist can't be silenced by some central power, because they are the power on their own platform. There's no single kill switch someone can flip.
And really, this slide sums up the whole grand vision. It's about a massive transition, from digital feudalism to a digital republic, moving away from a rent-based economy where you and your attention are the product, and into an ownership-based reality where you are actually sovereign.
And it all comes down to this one powerful statement. This is the rallying cry. This is the closing argument for why this massive shift in architecture isn't just a nice idea, but something that's inevitable. It's like a declaration of independence for our digital age.
Which brings us to our final question. The vision is incredibly compelling, right? An internet of owners, not renters. But with any revolution, the blueprint is one thing, and the reality is often something else entirely. So is this truly the path to a freer, more fair internet? Or will this new architecture just create a whole new set of problems we can't even see yet? Well, the future, as always, is still waiting to be built.